to America Then and Now with your host here, Kenny Boston. And what we're going to do in this series of videos, we're going to talk about things we used to do in the past and the way we do them now, and all the changes that have happened during the last 50 years or so. We're going to talk about lots of things from current events, politics, music, heritage, culture, just old stories. So just sit back and relax and enjoy today's video, okay? Thank you so much. Well, hello and welcome back to America Then and Now. Thought today we might touch a little bit about, touch upon the record industry a little bit. Me and a friend here the other day were discussing this in a video call, and it's so radically different now, the way things were done in the past and to today, and that's the reason we do this channel. In today's record industry, lots of the artists are just a flash in the pan. There's very, very little longevity. Record sales are nothing like they used to be. The artists are starving. They make new music and there's no place really to put it. Spotify kind of dictates what you're going to see, and and radio is totally different than it used to be, and music is really, really suffering. In the old days, when I was a little guy or whatever, the record industry, their job, they had agents and they had people to go out and spot and find talent, people that could sing and did not need any autocorrect. They were looking for guitar players that could really play, looking for instrumentalists that could really produce, and a handful of those people got really, really famous. But the industry then, playing with my music, in the old days, a record company, which barely even exists today, they spotted talent and they nurtured talent, and they spent a lot of money help getting these artists signed and letting them grow musically to become what they would ultimately be. And most of the supergroups that you know of today, look at like Journey or Styx or some of those bands like that, even like Def Leppard was kind of more instantaneous, but those bands were nurtured a little bit. They didn't become really famous till they were in 3, 4, 5 albums, then all of a sudden, kaboom, Rush, Kansas, Don Kirshner, the famous producer, well, not so much as a producer, he's a money guy, and he kept Kansas alive, and and lost a lot of money for a few albums there. Then all of a sudden, boom, Carry On My Wayward Son exploded, and he got all his money back, and the band all of a sudden was a headline act. But it took some patience and faith. It was more than just money. Kirshner knew that how talented, Kansas was, and he was willing to carry them. Rush was a famous prog rock band. I mean, he was big with the musicians, and the fans loved going to concerts, but they didn't have any radio hits, and to become that big supergroup, you got to get something on the radio. You had to have exposure, in a big way. And then finally, Rush went through, some albums there that were just, they were good albums, but not radio things. And all of a sudden, Permanent Waves came out, and Spirit of the Radio, and some of those other songs on Permanent Waves got pretty contagious, with the AOR album on radio type formats. And by the time Moving Pictures came out, and Tom Sawyer and Limelight and Moving Pictures became their magnum opus, still to this day, as many gigantic records as they had, up until the present day. Moving Pictures is a masterpiece. Styx, for example, they had some moderate success with Lady. Lady was recorded on Styx too, but it wasn't for several years later that it became a big hit. Then, next thing you know, Crystal Ball came out, and they became that opening act that nobody really wanted them to open for. They were too good. Then Grand Illusion came out, ta-da! Come Sail Away and Fooling Yourself. So these bands were nurtured, and it doesn't exist today like that. And there is no record company that can hold all that money. They've kind of withered by the side. Now the only way bands can make money right now today is playing live. They get videos on YouTube and things, and people, they get interest, and they make most of their money just playing live, because in the music itself, in the CDs or whatever, there's just so little money. It's very, very different. And the way things were recorded back then too, at the time, only the record companies, they're the ones that had the money. The bands were pitifully broke, and there's not much they could do, and they would make their demos on little tape recorders and things like that and send it into the company, and they get shot, get noticed, or get seen playing in a club in L.A. somewhere, or New York. Nashville's a big scene today to be discovered. But the record companies in the studios then had all the technology, and so bands had to pretty much go to where they were. Now with all this digital stuff out there, you can record high quality CDs, albums, whatever you want to call them, in somebody's garage. All this stuff is readily available, and it's not expensive, and you can really record something. So that aspect kind of helped do away with the record companies and the studios. But it's really changed a lot, and the talent level, I think the talent pool is really, really down. There are bands that are coming back. Bands like Dirty Honey and Liliac, and some rock bands like that are making a little bit of noise. Greta Van Fleet, they're trying to bring back that rock music, classic sound. We'll just wait and see. And another thing that you'll notice too, the big changes. If you watch a lot of TV, which a lot of you do, if you watch a lot of TV, you will notice all the music's usually classic format. They never play any of today's music, hardly ever, in a commercial. Does that say something about the quality of today's music? It does a little bit, I think. I think we recognize that a lot of that classic music, we might not be able to tell you who it is or the name of the song, but you see it in these commercials, or hear it, you hear it in all these commercials all the time. Like right now there's a new Dr. Pepper commercial that's ripping off Night Ranger a little bit, not a little bit, a lot, Sister Christian. So anyhow, the industry's changed so much, and the future is very, very uncertain. These upstart bands, to become visible is very, very difficult, and it's hurting our modern. It's hurting music right now. The people are getting noticed right now are just mainly image conscious projects developed by people out in the big cities, and talent level is questionable at best. So anyhow, food for thought, and we'll discuss this music stuff a lot more. Today's video here is just to get you to thinking a little bit about how it was then and how it is now. Then was better for when I was a kid or whatever was better, for the artist as far as letting them grow musically and becoming money makers, becoming super groups. Today there are no super groups. That's almost an archaic phrase now, the word supergroup. Nobody lasts long enough. Nobody has a 10, 12, 15-year longevity, like these bands today. And that's the reason they're in such demand today, is because we miss that music. We miss that quality. And we're not stupid. We recognize a good guitar player. We recognize a good singer. And we can tell when they cannot perform up to our expectations. So anyhow, food for thought. Have a great day, and I'll hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.